over 600 cities all over the world. The main purpose of Startup Grind is basically very simple: support, guide, and create networking opportunities for any startup idea, group, or even entrepreneur. I used to follow Startup Grind, and they connected with me a while back, and when I saw that this is aligned with what I do, I said this is a good opportunity, not only for me and for the entrepreneurs, but basically one of the things I want to do as a new director for this chapter is put Beirut back on the map, show our potential, show our skills, show our dedication and willingness to succeed. Personally, I'll give you a brief overview. I've been in marketing and business development, sales for over 27 years now. And I always worked with agencies and third parties. And a while back, I decided to set up my own consultancy. I used to work again with other agencies, and I always wanted to have my own agency. In 2019, I decided to start my agency when everything went south, everything went sour. And I was at the crossroad where I said to myself that I had two choices: give up because times are bad, because the world economy is going through tough times. Lebanon was going through very tough times. And then I looked at it from a different angle. I said, this is an opportunity when times are bad to have an additional chance to succeed. When COVID hit, again, things were even worse. And this is when I really understood that in times of crisis, if you play it right, if you know how to balance it, if you have the proper attitude and the proper mental preparedness, you can turn a crisis into an opportunity. As we go towards this particular topic will not stop today. So in all our sessions, we're going to keep on tackling it from several angles. The purpose of what we do as Startup Grind, in general, as Startup Grind Beirut, is to help the Lebanese on a personal level develop their idea, pursue their dreams, prepare well, and take any idea, concept, brand, dream they have to the next level. So whatever is needed for them to make this happen, we will guide them. We will try to bring as many diverse speakers as possible for you to have a lot of first-hand knowledge. Definitely the Q&A sessions will help a lot. They will be more customized. And this networking, because at the end of the day, it's not only a conference, it's a networking opportunity where eventually all startups will meet up together, and it will create a fertile environment. Part of the advices you will hear is when you're working in a professional environment, or when you want to be positive, or whatever you decide to do in life, try to mingle with people that are that have the same mindset. So if you surround yourself with people that are positive, you will tend to be positive. If you surround yourself with people who are more knowledgeable, this will add to your knowledge. So always surround yourself with people that can inspire you, and stay away from negative people. In today's session, we're going to have three very dear speakers that happen to know each other. So part of what will happen today will be on a personal level, and it will share stories about how coming together and joining forces helps out. So thank you again. This is the first event we are having as the Beirut chapter. This is the relaunch. I want it to be a huge success. I'm counting on myself, on the team, on every member that is here is not only for each and every one of you, it's not only for Startup Grind, it's to put Beirut back on the map and show them that we do everything differently. So thank you so much. We will have the speakers please join us. Imad is a transformational coach. Dr. Kevin is a founder and CEO. They will all present themselves later on in detail. And Hussein is a financial advisor. So here you have a small example of how joining forces can make things happen. Please take note of every question you have, and once we finish the presentation that each one of our presenters today will have, we will take a small break and take a very relaxed session where you can all share your thoughts and ask your questions. Okay, so I give the floor now to Imad.
Thank you. Hamdal's presentation. مرحبا، بالعاده بحكي بلا مايكروفون سو بستعمل الانرجي تبعت صوتي. اذا بالاخر عم تسمعوني منيح بس ارفعوا ايديكم لاعرف انه I don't need a microphone. Excellent. Does this work or do you control it? Yeah. Let me try this. Perfect. Great. بدي بلش to congratulate you for being here لسبب لانه بكل الظروف اللي عم تصير بلبنان, with everything happening in Lebanon. Is everyone good with English? Do you know? Yes? Okay, so with everything going on in Lebanon, all the people that made it today, I want to congratulate you for being here. And I want to start by applauding you for attending this day on a Saturday. This is crazy. For making it happen, and of course for all the team of Startup Grind Beirut. Now, I want you to introduce yourself. I want to get to know you, but I have 20 minutes to do so. I'm allowed 20 minutes to talk. Well, let me tell you something. Growing old, when I was a kid, I discovered that I have a gift. And that gift was my ability to hear all voices and register all voices all at the same time. This is why when I count to 3, all of you will shout your names and I'm going to register and memorize your names. Are you ready?
Yes.
With this energy, I cannot go with 20 minutes. So listen, I'm having my coffee, I'm all energy, and I need your energy. Now, energy has a lot to do with entrepreneurship. Energy has a lot to do with creation. And it's what you face, the energy of chaos. So, there's 2 ways to continue today. There's this way, when there's no energy, and it doesn't get me excited to continue. So if you want this way, just say yes. Okay, for the video. We'll do that for the video. But if you want the other way, that's more energetic, where we can have a joyful learning experience, say yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is better, but you said yes, yes with the same energy of the yes. So I'm going to test you once again. If you want to have a joyful learning experience where you can show me your energy, say yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
This is better. I can continue my presentation. So when I count to 3, you will shout your names and I'm going to memorize them. Are you ready? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is better. Are you ready? Say yes.
Yes.
So when I say 3, you shout your names and I'm going to memorize them. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
I don't really have that gift. But what I want to tell you before introducing myself is that every one of you here has a gift. And that gift is a gold mine. Man jumped out. Because God, or whatever you believe in, when He or she created you on this earth, gave you that gold mine. But there's three kinds of people. There's the kind of people who don't know the gold mine they have. They don't know. They live their lives not knowing that they have a gold mine. It's yours. God gave it to you. But you live life without discovering the gold mine you have, the gift that God gave you. And not only one gift, it's many gifts. The second one, the second type of people, they know they have a gold mine. بتحس انك special. بتحس انه عندك شيء جوا. You know you have a gold mine, but you don't have the tools to walk into the mine and to dig in the gold. And the third kind of people is, they know they have a gold mine, they've learned the tools to dig in and extract the gold, but they're afraid of the chaos, of the darkness, to walk in the cave or the mine and extract the gold. So I don't know you, I don't know any of you, except a few, but I know something about you. I don't know you, but I know something about you. That each one of you sitting here or watching this has a gold mine. And it's up to you to decide to either discover it and use the tool to extract it and have the courage to overcome the chaos to extract the gold. And coming from that, I want to tell you that this sentence was one of the most influential sentences in my life. That the purpose of life is to find your gift, and the meaning of life is to give your gift away. And I'm going to give you a moment or two to let this sink in. But I'm going to go back to tell you who's the person behind the microphone. So, up until 2011, I used to be, and I say I used to be an engineer. So I'm not an engineer anymore. In 2011, after finishing my master's in telecommunication engineering at Concordia University and working as a teaching assistant at Concordia and working in engineering, I started discovering that I have a gold mine. And I wanted to learn the tools to dig in and to extract the gold. So I went into personal development. And so for the past 10 years of my life, I've been doing personal and professional development. And I've worked so far, generally speaking, in total, in person and groups and companies with more than 7,000 people. So when I say a gold mine, I know I've touched it, I've seen it in people, that every one of you has a gold mine. Now along the way, I've worked with so many companies and I helped start or transform so many startups, including ones in Lebanon, as we're going to see in a bit. These are my certifications. Doesn't really matter. I've written 3 books. The first one is called The Good Dose. It's available online. The second one is called Mysteries of Transformation. And the third one is called The Girl with a Thorn in Her Heart. I have 3 online courses, حول حياتك حالا, leading people and organizations, and 1 course. It's called Self-Awareness. And I've created the Success Podcast. Did anyone here of the Success Podcast by any chance? A person or 2 or 3? Excellent, that's good. 2 is better than 0, right? From 0 to 1, it's one of the books in entrepreneurship. Now, what's my life vision? My life vision is to become internationally inspirational influencer by 2033. Okay? Now, besides that, I'm here to tell you, to share with you 3 lessons. Not a big deal, just 3 lessons, but these 3 lessons for me are game changers when it comes to entrepreneurship. But I'm gonna try to make it as practical as possible, because honestly, as an ex-engineer, I'm more interested in building things than just learning the theory. And I don't want this to become another theory we'll learn, we clap, we feel motivated, and we go home and do nothing about our ideas. So, when you look at these logos, these are logos of startups in Lebanon that started and developed and transformed in the past month or year or two in Lebanon amidst the chaos. So I'm not bringing you success stories from the USA or anywhere in the world. These are Lebanese. Beirut is one of my clients. He started with one apartment. He used to rent apartments. That's it. You know when? During this year, 6 months back. What we did, we transformed the business model into property management. So instead of just renting an apartment, you do property management. 6 months later, he's renting 4 apartments. 2 months later, we're property managing one of the buildings in Joumaa, alongside decoration, etc. The guy is 21 years old. Joumaa started as Recycle. Recycle is a recycling company. So Chris, another client of mine, used to come to me during COVID when we used to wear gloves and masks. Remember these days when we had to put gloves and masks? These days we used to sit in the office 2 meters apart to discuss crazily how to develop, makan waqt, right? It wasn't the time to do so, but we did it. And I'm telling you this not to show up, but to show you something that I'm gonna get into in a moment. Now, Chris won $5,000, I guess, in Lebanon, and then a European company adopted him, and now, right, he's traveling to Europe to develop and work on the business there. Jeans Arabia, another startup we're transforming with Dr. Kevin, he will introduce in Lebanon this year. The Protector, Hussein Joumaa, another startup you're gonna see. Podio, this guy dropped from AUB, he's a friend, it's called Stefano. The Success Podcast, where I have 50 episodes, is hosted by Podio, started a year and a half ago. Now they're worth probably $1 million investment, etc. 3D Maker, this guy makes 3D printing. I'm working with him. I'm here to tell you something. Emotion is an agency by a Lebanese girl called Eliane. She lives in Tripoli. Ehden Salata. It was made by Bushra, who's a Met, who works in law. She has nothing, she doesn't know anything about entrepreneurship or business. Diamond Eco Travel, this guy is also a friend. Believe it or not, he's making so much money in dollars from people who are traveling in these times. Partners and Beyond is also a friend. Now, the other ones are not friends, but they're in Lebanon. Well, except for Riyadh, Dr. Mona Atani from UB, so etc. So I know closely about these successful startups that are happening in Lebanon. This is to tell you something. I want to start with lesson number 1. Chaos is a prerequisite for creativity, for creation and chances. And I learned this by studying ancient studies. Some call it esoteric, others call it alchemy. Doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you get the lesson out of it. You've probably seen this in the Kung Fu or Mortal Kombat, etc. It's the concept of the yin and the yang. What does it say? It says so many things. But it says one thing that I'm more interested in. Even in the darkest chaos, there's the white. White is the light. Light is information. You can see me now because there's light. Now, if you think about it, usually startups, they disrupt what's already happening, what's already working. So when you tell me, can I create my startup among the chaos? Well, my answer is, your startup usually creates chaos. So not only chaos isn't your enemy when starting a startup, chaos is your friend when starting a startup. Because if you think about it, it's not a chance, it's not by coincidence that most startups in the world boomed during financial crises, during pandemics, during revolutions. Because, for example, people like Dr. Kevin thought of changing how people do regular medicine or regular healthcare, from protection to prevention, from waiting to someone to have a problem to solve into solving the problem in advance. So he created Genes Arabia. So بهالفوضى بلبنان فينا نعمل شيء؟ Hell yes, because فوضى بلبنان is the reason that نعمل شيء. And I showed you Lebanese startups. I didn't come up with some fancy American startups that have all the funding, etc. It's just regular, average person who has no idea about business and starting a business among the chaos that we're all living, that they did it. Now, there's something about this. It's not only the black and white, it's also chaos and order. So black is chaos and white is order. But it's also creativity and cognitive. You know the general rule that the right part of the brain is the creative, and the left part of the brain is the more cognitive, conscious, etc. Now it's not very, correct me if I'm wrong, doctor, it's not really very scientific, because the brain doesn't work independently. There's, let's say, 40 areas in the brain that work interdependently on each other. But let's say we follow this classical separation. So the black and the white are also the creative and the cognitive. So you don't want to only do the market studies and the feasibility study for your startup. There's also the creative part. And that's why there's a design thinking in working with startups. And it goes through 5 stages. So it's called design thinking for a reason. It's more creative. And how many times when through the crisis, we hear of an idea or a startup and we said, this is interesting. It's because we love the creative element in it. It's so attractive for people. Now, so my message to you is, number 1, embrace chaos. And look for the white dot in the chaos. Let me prove it to you. I'm gonna count till 7. I'm gonna actually count till 10. And when I finish counting, all what you're gonna do, during these 10 seconds, you're gonna count everything that is black. So you have 10 seconds to count everything that's black. And when I'm done counting, you're gonna close your eyes. Don't cheat, I can see you. And you're gonna close your eyes. And while closing your eyes, I'm gonna ask you a question, and you're gonna answer it. Are you ready? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Are you ready? Yes or yes?
Yes.
So I'm gonna start counting till 10, counting till 10, and you're gonna count everything that's black. 1, 2, start counting everything that's black. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close your eyes. I can see you. I'm walking around you. I can see you. Close your eyes. انتم ساكتين عيونكم. Keep your eyes closed. And in one voice, while closing your eyes, tell me, listen to me clearly, tell me how many blue items did you see? Blue. Tell me. 1, 2, 3, go. Now open your lovely eyes and count everything that's blue. Starting from the guy, kashif, wearing blue, your masks, to everything around you. And tell me really, even this gentleman here, wearing blue, tell me really if you counted 0 or 1, or maybe 4 or 5 or 6. Because what happened is, people focus on the black, they only see the black, they stop seeing the white. So by focusing too much on the black, you didn't see the blue, right? So it's up to you to decide if we live in chaos or we can see what the white and black is. That is number one. Number two, your mindset as an entrepreneur is more important than the mechanics of your startup. So startups and business owners, especially at the beginning of their startup, they become very obsessed with the mechanics, which means the branding, the marketing. They come to work with Ziad, for example, on the marketing. That's great, but that's the mechanics. It's like having the nicest car with the most powerful engine, but ما في بنزين. You've experienced this. أو بنزين مغشوش, you've experienced this. Benzene is the mindset. I don't want to only have the nicest, fanciest looking, branded startup, and I've done all my research on the 5 stages of the design thinking from empathy to ideate to etc. That's great, but I've seen working with entrepreneurs, owners, startup owners, business owners, even business owners, that the brake to the speed of their car, which is a startup, is their mindset. It's not the car itself. Your startup is a vehicle. It's your mindset. ما في opportunities بلبنان. ما حدا حيعمل لي funding، ما حدا حيعمل لي investment. ليه أنا بدي أنجح غيري أقوى مني؟ بدي ضخ $1,000,000 لأعمل marketing. It's a mindset. Because in the same economy, in the same country, and I'm not saying it's hard. أنا كمان ما عندي بنزين أوقات. I can see the black is there, I can see it. But I also dance and mingle with the white. So I've realized that the biggest problem, and you know how it can go as well, because when working with Beirut personally, and Joumaa, and Arabia, and Hussein Joumaa, and Ziad, I forgot about Ziad, and Emotion, personally, I know nothing about real estate. I know nothing about financials. I know nothing about healthcare. I knew nothing about their business, and I helped them transform their business. Why? Because it's not the mechanics, it's the mindset. So what did I do? I worked with them on the mindset. So that's my message, number 2. It's great to have the right mechanics, but focus on your mindset. So if a business owner or a startup tells me my startup isn't working, I don't go to marketing first. I don't go to Ziad first. I sit with him or her. I'm like, listen, there's an idea in your head that's preventing you from taking the next step. And I work on the idea. And when that works, my question is, okay, now which agency do you want to use for marketing? That follows. That follows. Number 3, and last, this is psychological, so whoever's interested in psychology. I've studied a lot of psychology, sometimes self-taught. I also studied the neuro-linguistic programming. I also studied logotherapy, which is healing people through finding meaning in life. And we also have a psychologist on the team. So these traits are very important traits for entrepreneurs. Now, these traits, we all share them in common, but I'm going to tell you how to use them for your advantage. So every person has them. Even the poorest, most unprivileged, most uneducated, most uncivilized people have them, but we have them developed differently inside us. And the combination of each of them together creates our personalities. Openness. It's an openness to experience. Most entrepreneurs have openness to experience. Because entrepreneurs who don't have, or people who don't have openness to experience, usually cannot be entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurs have to be willing to actually try something new, disrupt what's working, try to rejuvenate what's not working. Openness to experience. So, if the next time you hear yourself saying, بس أنه ما بعرف, I'm not sure if I should try this market product. Stop yourself. Because this is where you're hitting the brake on your vehicle, which is the start. Number 2, conscientiousness. Most people who have high conscientiousness are professional, are well organized. they follow a certain system. Usually success of a startup doesn't happen, usually I'm saying, doesn't happen randomly overnight. Now it could happen if the chances would help, but 80 to 90% of the time, no. There's an actual conscientiousness, there's a system that works. So conscientiousness is how much a person is committed, their time management, their people management, how they have a schedule, how they have a plan. So this should be high as well. Extraversion. I mean, if you read the book that's called, I'm going to tell you what it's called in a minute. It's the power of introverts. I'm not saying that every entrepreneur should be extroverted. That's also, I would personally say, it's just from the commercialization of extroversion by University of Harvard, who pushed the idea of extroversion and team building and etc. By that, they didn't embrace the power of introverts, because introverts are the scientists. Introverts are, the people who work by themselves to create things without the team building. But besides that, generally speaking, most entrepreneurs are extroverts, because they need that extra energy of reaching out to potential partners, to potential investors, to potential building a team. And there is neuroticism. Neuroticism is how you allow emotions to affect you badly and depressingly. So if you're the best entrepreneur ever, but you're depressed, sitting at home, not taking action, cussing the government, which I agree on, etc., and that's it, your startup wouldn't work. Why? Because emotions are energy in motion. So the emotions inside you, that neuroticism, is what's preventing you from taking action. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs that have amazing ideas that are not doing anything because they're stuck here. They're demotivated. So neuroticism for an entrepreneur is knowing how to manage your emotions in a way that they don't block you. That's it. Thank you so much. So we go next for questions, Q&A. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you so much. Now we give the stage to Hussein. Hussein is a financial advisor, and he will talk more about what he has to say.
Thank you, Ziad. Good day, everyone. Excuse me, my voice is cracking. It's a regular cold. And it's negative. Thank you, Coach Imad, for already heating up, making my way easier, as usual. Those that know me, they say I'm different. I'm not better or worse, I'm just different. You will get to know in a few. However, before we go into that, thank you. I want you to imagine the following 6 numbers. 2, 5, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0. Before the 2, put a dollar sign. It's a $250,000. They could be worth for investment, بركي ذهب لمرتي, بركي then debt. Yes. If I go back 10 years ago, this was 2011, I graduated from university. My parents had put aside around $50,000. They were planning that I get a decent MBA degree outside Lebanon. I decided to use the money to start up a business. I partnered up with someone that he had some experience in retail business, and we started working. Things were okay in the beginning. We were selling our products. However, starting the second year, we started to fall short into debt. I was a student of economics, however, I was financially illiterate. Fast forward 3 years, this is around 2015, he disappears. And we have a legal partnership, it's official, it's registered, and he leaves the business with $250,000 of debt. My parents, my friends, tried to help out, but there was remaining around $150,000 of debt. So I want to ask you the following. How could someone being in this much debt pay it back and doing almost double after the revolution and after the COVID? And in Lebanon. One day, Coach Imad already shared, it's not the mechanism, it's the mindset. I was sitting in the corridor of my saloon back at home. It was early COVID. I was browsing through the LinkedIn and I felt that I already had a boy. I already had remaining around $90,000 of debt. And I felt it was very black. I had shifted careers in 2017, but it wasn't doing well at all. So I reached out to this guy, Coach Joumaa, and I said, I need help. He said, what do you have in mind? I said, I'm after a social media strategy. He said, okay, let's meet up. I believe we could work on something. And there, the transformation began. We worked on everything but the social media strategy. 2 years, going back in 2 years, a year, 8 months, things have been very different. Today, where I stand, thankfully, to the Lord, to His help, to my family, it's different. So I want you to take that into consideration and believe that everything could be done in Lebanon in these crises. Currently, I'm a financial advisor. I help people manage their money, protect their income, and plan for the future. I'll be sharing with you some tips on financial literacy for startups. Alan Greenspan said this beautiful. Alan Greenspan, by the way, he is the head of the Federal Reserve Bank. He was back in the States, head of Federal Bank. شي مثل رياض سلامة بس back in the States. بس أنا بالصورة. He was around for 18 years, I believe, in that position. The number one problem in today's generation and the economy is the lack of financial literacy. Along the way, in the short presentation, you'll get to discover why being financially illiterate leads to poverty, to economic recessions, and by result, to social problems back at home, back at work. Why financial literacy? Let's start with that. Did you ever think about financial literacy? What does it really mean? The term might be simple, however it's fundamental, whether it's in your own lives, and especially when it comes to your startup or to your business. Do you have any financial skills other than the accounting we've acquired in the university or back at school? Are you good with money? Do you manage your own finances? This will be the outline for the presentation. So, what is financial literacy? Why is it important? 5 reasons. Why is it key for entrepreneurs? How do we become financially literate? Ways to improve financial literacy. We'll go through quickly basic financial statements. He has a head full of hair. I used to have one. Before I got married, I got 3 beautiful children, by the way. So it's fine. I've been 5 years as a financial advisor. I got a BS in economics and ongoing financial risk management at the NDU. Fellow Life Management Associate. This is an international certificate I got from the Loma Association back in the States. and I'm a $1 million roundtable member. We just ended a 2 full-day event, Khamis or Joumaa. It was wonderful. And I'm a consultant at MetLife, which is an international financial services company operating in Lebanon, in the Gulf, all around the globe. Why is it important? CB Insights, they did a statistic. You've heard of CB Insights, right? Startups, entrepreneurs. You haven't? You need to look it up. It's a platform, the statistics, everything to do with startups. So Google it. The top 20 reasons why startups fail. I was shocked. 18% pricing issues, 29% because they ran out of money. Thus, around 47%, this was in 2019, almost half the startups, they fail because of something to do with financial illiteracy. This was the year before. This was 2018. If you check on the top column, same reason, running out of cash, but it was way higher, 38%. Going back to 15 plus 38, the year before. Oh, okay. The year before, it was even 53%. If we add up 38%, 15%, we'll have a 53% reason, everything to have to do with money, managing money, not the market, not getting out-competed, not only business model. كلهم they are reasons, but the top reason is financial illiteracy. So what is financial literacy? It's the ability, the skills to manage money. Why is that very important? Think of it. If you have money coming in, and you don't know how much is coming in, and you don't really know how much is going out, on a personal level, take it from micro and then take it a little bit macro to your business, you'll be probably in debt to cover your expenses, your lifestyle, let alone when it comes to businesses. This is very, very important. I went through it. I was $250,000 in debt. This is why I decided to take this career, to help people, to raise their awareness, because this is the essence of successful businesses. 5 reasons why financial literacy is key for entrepreneurs. Budgeting, you need a budget for your business. If you don't have that, it's a problem. Credit management, you need to take loans, smart loans though. You've got mortgage loans, credit cards, vehicle loans, depending on the nature of the startup you're running. Capital loans. Decision making. Let me tell you something from your everyday life. Who's married over here? Married, yes. So imagine those that are married. Your wife comes up to you. I'm going to give an example about wives because I'm married and I have that back at home. So your wife comes up to you. It's around 20th of November. We're in November. She says, honey, you know what? I have this beautiful dress. I saw it on the internet. My sister has got one. You know, women have to do that all the time. So I want it. Could we afford it? How could I answer from a financial point of view if I don't have my exact numbers? This is an example on the personal level, let alone on the business level. So when you are financially literate, this helps you take better decisions. Are we going to expand? Are we going to reinvest? Are we going to sell out part of the business? What is it that we're going to be doing? Growing the business. I just mentioned that example. When you know your numbers, when you know your debt, when you know how much investments you've got, accordingly, you can take the chance, the decision, and not the chance, to grow your business or not at a certain stage. You're in control. Imagine you are shopping for food. If you have $10 and the burger costs around $7, You will be very comfortable when you are entering to that restaurant, would you? No, you wouldn't. But if you had $100, and you know it's around $7 to $8, you'd go around, if you're short like I am, you'd go around walking tall. The same thing is here. When you, as a startup, are financially literate, you know your money, you know your inflows, outflows, you feel that you are in control, and you take the right decisions. How do you become financially literate? This has to do with the business, this has to do with you. You could do books, good books, accredited books, not any book. Taking financial literacy courses, financial management tools, I mentioned 2 to 3 very important ones. Hatta book, the courses up there, these are very accredited, they're known worldwide. Reading financial newspapers and magazines, and this really helps. 70%, Coach Imad knows that, because it's within our strategy, of the knowledge I have, of the shift I've done in my career from a regular consultant to a personal wealth management advisor, is because of the knowledge I acquired outside the normal scheme of my traditional career. So yes, self-education is very important. هذا منك للشيء. It's working for me. Dr. Kevin can share. It certainly will work for you. On a business perspective, these are ways you could work to improve your financial literacy. Excuse me. Establish priorities. What is it that you should do at your business right now? Expand, invest, ask for money, take smart debt, venture into new markets, know your priorities, know where you stand. It's very simple. Where are we today? Growth stage, maturity stage, we're declining, reviewing financial statements monthly. And over here, I'd love to link it to this point. Who of you have a startup? Do you have someone handling your finances, or you do it on your own? For the business? On your own. Okay, that's great. You're doing that out of knowledge or out of limiting costs. One day, you could, maybe sometime soon, hire an accountant. You need to ask these people. The other day I was meeting with your doctor and your coach, with the Coach Imad's client, Chris, and one of the most important things he said to me, because his successful startup is moving to Germany in a few days, he said that one of the things I faced with the accountant I hired is that he thinks because I am the guy with the minds that I know my numbers, and I really don't. He said, I didn't even know what's a balance sheet, what's an income statement. These are very primitive things in accounting and financial management. So you want to be asking, if you don't have a full-time accountant, for different reasons, you're starting new, you can't afford that, seek for advice. Use one of the tools I shared with you. They make it easier. Educate yourself. Focus on your cash flow statements. We'll go over that quickly. Along the way, you need to develop a financial advisory team. When the startup starts growing, Dr. Kevin is a great example, you need a team. Accountant, an insurance consultant, a financial manager, a lawyer, or an attorney, depending where you're operating. Understanding financial statements. These are the bread and butter of every business. This is a must. It's not a surplus, it's not leisure. If you don't know your numbers, monthly basis, quarterly basis, you're not reviewing these statements, you're going to fail. Not today, maybe tomorrow. It could happen one time, 2 times out of luck, but along the way you will be failing if you don't have your numbers right. I'm going to be sharing with you 6 to 8 to 11, depending which school we're using, but these are the basics. The balance sheet, assets, liabilities, owner's equity. This is an example. We've got the assets here, current assets, cash equivalents, so on and so forth. The property, other assets, total assets. On the other side of the table, the liabilities, the payables we are about to pay, accrued expenses, notes payable, the revenues, and the difference always between the assets and the liabilities should be the shareholders' equity. The income statement, profit loss statement as I prefer to call it, because you know how much you've got revenue, you've got expenses, and net income or net loss. This is an example of an income statement, guys. As I just mentioned, you've got net sales, the gross profits, you deduct your expenses, you have your tax where you pay taxes, and this is your net income. Moving to the third and most important financial statement is the cash flow. Money inflows, money outflows. Married men know that as well. Marriage is a business. Mine is successful. He's helping me out to run it well, but it's fine. It's a business. So how much money you have in, how much money going out, accordingly, you know, if you need more sales, if you need to try to decrease your expenses where possible, increase products, ask for investments, investors, so on and so forth. This is also a typical cash flow statement. Cash flow from operations, investments, from financing. Moving into the fourth, and quite very important because you are getting people that are investing, that are helping you out, that are partnering with you from the financial perspective is statement of owner's equity. How much you're giving. Share capital, what is your retained earnings, and then you have a final number over here. In summary, I'm personally an advocate from personal experience, from where I'm seeing it with my clients. Financial literacy is a must. It could happen, success could happen by luck for you for a very short time if you are not financially literate. It's very simple, yet very fundamental. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, Hussein. Today you're going to have some rough ideas on certain things. You're going to be exposed to new topics, eye-opener. As we move forward, you will always be supported with everything you need on specific topics, but you need to consider that we are starting up from the basics, and as we move on, we're going to tackle more into depth things that are more concerned to you. So we're going from the macro into the micro, so take your time, get in the mood. Hopefully, by a couple of sessions, you will be getting hands-on information. Now allow me to introduce Dr. Kevin. He has a story to say. At the end of the day, storytelling takes you into the back sides of every success.
Thank you, Ziad. Hello, how's everybody? How's everybody? Great. So I'd like to start with a question. Who of you has a family? Some people don't have families? Okay. Okay. So who from you have family? Raise your hand. Okay. Who from you have ever experienced illness in his family? Did anybody experience illness? Okay. Who from you that had illness in the family felt so sorrow, so saddened. They didn't know what to do. I was one of them. So today I'm going to tell you how I transformed this experience, this very sad, humiliating experience, into business. So who from you figured out his purpose? Did anybody thought about his purpose in this life? Okay. What is your purpose?
Help people find jobs.
Okay. Who else had found a purpose? Who has a purpose in mind? Yes?
Protect the environment.
Perfect. Very nice. What's the problem? Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and how I find my purpose. And I'd like to give you a question, but I don't want any answer. So does our purpose find us, or do we find our purpose? So let us think a little bit, think about it, and we'll see if we can know what defines us, or does we define our purpose. So my childhood was very normal. I was raised in a typical home. Me and my brother, my father, my mother. My father is an interior architect. He works in construction. My mom, she's a nurse. So since my childhood, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a surgeon specifically. So this is my family. You can see on my wedding day. So in 2008, I was admitted to med school, realizing my childhood dream, being a doctor, helping people fight illness. Through med school, I met another family. This was one of the families that helped me shape my personality. And this is the Rotaract family. I don't know if anybody had heard of Rotaract. Raise your hand if you ever heard about them. Okay. So in this family, I met a lot of wonderful people. Those two persons were my mentors. President Khalil and President Tony Hafiz. Unfortunately, we lost them to COVID this year. Was President Tony Hafiz was the one who pinned me through my Rotaract. Why I'm talking about Rotaract? You say as an entrepreneur. Why you're talking about this? So in Rotaract, I met a lot of people. I widened my horizon. I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting ideas. I met one of my co-founders in Rotaract and Rotary, and we lived a lot of experiences there. And the experience is very good because they give us a lot, they make us learn a lot, they define us. They help us discover what we are and who we want to be. And from this family, I met new families, people showing at the airport, getting us and transporting us and making us living in their house without even knowing them. So, you know, you're part of something very big, you know, something that you don't need to know them to actually know them. From Rotaract, I started my first NGO. It was one of the projects. We started a community clinic for eye disease, helping people who have eyesight problems. So from this project, we created an NGO because these people didn't have a place or didn't have the fund to get the treatment they needed when they were diagnosed with something. So we needed to help out these people. So I thought, yes, this is what I'd like to do. This is serving my purpose. I'm helping people have sight, conserve their sight, cure blindness. And it's very good to look back, and after this journey, you look back and see, oh, what a beautiful picture I left behind me. So this is when I was in Petra. After 1.5 hour hike, we reached this point, me and my wife, and look back on this tragedy. So I don't know if anybody has been to Petra. Fast forward in 2015, I graduated med school.
I was into surgery, into bariatric surgery. I was never afraid to present in front anybody, big names, big surgeons, big professors, about novel surgeries that nobody would do them or have the dare to do them or talk about them, nevertheless do them. So here I was in Kuwait, talking in front of 300 professors about a technique that all of them think it's worthless, showing results of 3,000 surgeries about how this technique is important if it was done right. Also, I'd like to say that my professor left me here and went to the States to give the same lecture. So I was all alone, confronting big names. So I was never afraid either to jump from a 3,000 meter paragliding or buggying on the desert, or falling from a swing on my honeymoon when my wife thought she was a widow on her honeymoon. And this is a true story. So here I was taking the picture. Seconds after, I was only hanging with one hand. So in 2018, and I chose to put this picture, I married my beautiful wife, although this was for fun, but I put it on a purpose. That nobody can take away from what you want. Nobody can pull you back from what you want. Your will to and determination to take what you'd like to take is only determined by what you want and your will to take it. Fast forward to 2019, this was a hard year. As you know, life happens. So when I ask you about your family, in 2019, on a typical Sunday, having lunch with my family, my father tells me I feel like some pain here, I feel like I have shortness of breath. So I know my father get anxious, you know, the situation, started to have the financial crisis that in 2019. So I just thought this is just like a psychosomatization, you know, this is just anxiety. So I told him, let's go to the ER, have an EKG, see if, of course, your heart will be fine. It's just like something psychological. After doing the EKG, my cardiologist friend told me your father needs to stay at the ICU. I told him what? My father is a sportsman. He runs every day. He does a lot of sports. He's a hard worker. He jumps over scaffolding all day. He has like 10 people shouting all day. It couldn't be. I couldn't believe. I wasn't denied. So life happens. At the time, and after running all the diagnoses, the cardiologist tells us your father needs a triple chamber ICD. Oh, what a little alib. But this was a ultra sophisticated one that cost much more than the others. And at the time, I didn't have the money, neither my brother, to buy it for him, because insurance won't cover it. So it was like $50,000. So I had to loan some money, friends, bank, you name it, to buy it for my dad, who's everything for me. And one thing that was like thin nose, he had a life insurance for critical illness that he'd stopped 1 year before because extra cost. So this would have covered everything. So at that time, I was desperate, I was humiliated. I was like, okay, I need to make everything to get the money from my father, or I need to spread awareness. So I ventured into insurance. I started insurance, a doctor insurance, so everybody was asking, how come your insurance? What's your purpose? So my purpose was, I told them, I want to help protect these families to have the wealth in order to protect their health. So I started to ask people, how can you secure your family wealth and your family and your own wealth? Unfortunately, it wasn't my strength point. So I was desperate at this point. I have met Coach Imad, and he told me, what are you doing in insurance? You're a doctor. So I told him my story, and he tell me, what do you do else? I told him I do genomics. So, okay, he was like, what is genomics? So I told him, I'll help you protect your health, because health is the greatest asset of wealth. So here was like, where do I put my compass? Do I stand in front of the situation and consider it a crisis? Or do I consider it an opportunity? And I chose to choose opportunity because crisis and opportunity are the same thing. It's one coin, depending on which face you look at. So then we start Jeans Arabia. I was doing it on my own, on a personal level. Maybe clients that you could count on one or two hands maximum. So I wanted to make this available for the most number of person that needs it. I thought this could be my purpose. And it's always searching for our purpose. It's always in change, it's always developing. We're always uncovering it. We're always modifying it. So how to transform your purpose to business? So I had this medical background. I had this opportunity. I started genomics. I started my master in health and genomics. I started venturing more. I started spreading the word, and people started to know how you can prevent disease. So we don't cure disease. I could do nothing to my dad. He was already had this heart failure. I could do nothing to him. Even all my medical knowledge, even if I get the best centers, even if I get to the best doctors, I could have done nothing, but I could have prevented it if I knew before. So I started doing unique prevention. So what is unique prevention? So basically it's based on genomics, on genetics, your DNA. Your DNA is like your book. It has everything written in it. So if you open this book, you read it well, you know what is your weakest links, and we can work on your weakest links in order to strengthen it and avoid disease, make you live healthier, make you healthier, wealthier. So I put like 3 things for you to grow your purpose into a business. They are the know, define, and grow. So I'm gonna start with the know. First thing you have to know is to know yourself. Nobody anywhere can tell you what to do if you don't know yourself. You are the only one who can take charge if you know yourself. So every answer to every question starts within you. Nobody will give you the truth. There is no truth. There is only half-truth. So knowing yourself is where everything starts. So you know your core competencies, you know the person you are, and you know what person you want to be. And what person you want to be is the answer to how you grow your business. Because growing your startup doesn't mean growing your business. Doesn't mean having figures. Doesn't mean having certain revenues. It's the journey that you take to discover yourself, to become this person who wants to have this business. The second thing is know your business. So if you don't know anything about your business, don't venture into it. I had a venture in augmented reality. I ventured in many things. So I had the entrepreneurial mind, but I didn't know where to do or what to do. So I didn't know about anything about augmented reality, and it failed. The second thing, know your clients. So who you're talking to. What message do you need to give them? What message do you need to show them? What is their pain? What is the problem that you need to solve? And Hussein knows. Imad knows very well. And the last thing, know your competitors. So you don't want to swim in a tank full of sharks with a big wound dripping blood. So you have to know very well your competitors in order to strive your business. Because if you're in the wrong environment, you will vanish in a minute. The second thing is finding. Find your mentor, your co-founders, and your partners. This is very important. One of the things that limited me was the thought that I could do everything on my own. So I was like making a lot of agitation, but always in my place. I couldn't thrive. This is very important. So today my team, you're going to see people from different countries, different ages. John, who's one of my co-founders, is like 70 years old. He has like 45 years in business. He has a big holding company, but we're friends. Why? Because he thinks like 25-year-old or 30-year-old man. Imad, who was my coach, is today our CGO, our Chief Growth Officer. Why? Because he helped us transform our business, or my idea, into a business. So we partnered with him to be our growth officer in order to grow and transform this business into a business, or this idea into a business. Razan, who's an acquaintance from Jordan, back when I was in Jordan, you remember the Petra? So I met her there. She's a geneticist, and like after 6 years of knowing her, I told her, Razan, look, I'm opening a genomics firm. Would you like to be our partner in Jordan? So she said, let's do it. So find your team is very important. And finally, you have to grow. The first thing you have to grow is your mindset. I know it's gonna sound like I'm repeating what Imad is saying, but we didn't actually organize this. But I think by osmosis, like we always talk about this, we always have this discussion. So you have to grow your mindset before everything. If you don't grow your mindset, you're gonna stay small, you're gonna fail. The second thing is grow your goals. We hear a lot, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough, right? I don't know who said it. But yeah, make your goals scare you. Go out of your comfort zone.
A dream without a plan is not a goal. A
It's
dream
a
without
plan.
a plan is a goal.
Yeah. And finally, and this is something that I learned, that you need to grow your activities. You need to do them. You know, all of these, those three, are not like you work on one, then you work on the other, then you work on the third. No, it has to be all at the same time. Chaos and motion. So grow your activities. Go on the field. Listen what the people said. Put your idea into action. Pitch your idea to the person you meet. Listen to their feedback. Learn. If you don't do activities, it's just there on the paper. It sounds beautiful, but it means nothing. It has zero value. So your activities is what put value into your idea and into your start. So you have to think outside the box. And this is what we're doing right now with Jeans Arabia. We have created ambassador and partner programs. So we're having partners from all over the MENA region who are signing in with us, who are growing our business for us, who believe in our idea, and who wants to take our idea and recreate it everywhere and help their patient and help their community. So thank you. I hope I gave you something that was an eye-opener for you. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. We have two options, either go for a coffee break or continue the momentum. What I wanted to show you here is these three fine gentlemen are the elements you need to take any idea to the next level. Without talking in general, but Imad showed us how we can have the right attitude, the right positivity, the right mindset, which is very important. If you're not positive, if you're not in the right environment and mindset, you cannot thrive. You have to stay away from everything negative, put yourself in a very dedicated, positive mood, say that you can do it, and you will do it. If you believe you can fly, you can fly. What Hussein told us, which is also very important, is the preparation. So first you start with a great idea, then you have to do the proper research. You need to identify, understand the industry, understand what's available out there, get inspired, find a gap. And what Dr. Kevin showed us is that when you combine all of these, you can make an idea a business. Once we come back from a short break, we can start talking about the initial steps of the startup in brief, and we can start the Q&A questions. Who wants to go on a break? Just him. He's gonna make you wait. Let's take a 2-3 minute quick break, and we'll come back and wrap up the session. Thank you.
Back to your places, except these two gentlemen. This gentleman was sitting there, and this gentleman was sitting there, somewhere there. Khalil, why am I telling you this? This is extremely important because humans tend to continue to do things the same way they used to do them. They go back to their comfort zone, to their known area, to their property. So, بدنا ننطلق من هون تقلكم. Take this example to disrupt, to create chaos, to feel uncomfortable. تقعدوا قدام بوجه سبيكر ويوجه لي سؤال وما اعرف جاوب and I feel whatever do I feel. Because you need that, because you have to voluntarily choose to create chaos. Most people, what happens in their life, بيكونوا ماشيين بالحياة, chaos happens, بيجي كورونا, بيجي كوفيد, بيجي كل شيء. Shit, now I have to deal with chaos. But if you want to develop your personality, if you want to develop yourself, if you want to take a bigger stretch, you have to voluntarily choose to fight the dragon of chaos. So بلش بأصغر شيء بيعملك uncomfortable. Change your seat. Talk to the lady اللي أنت مستحي منها بس you have a crush on. Talk to the investor اللي عم تطلب منه $10 million in KSA. Okay? أنتوا لا ما تحكوا معي. So that was it.
Thank you, Imad. Okay, so basically we're at the stage where we're wrapping up. Just to have an idea of who's attending here, I'd like to ask a few questions and just get to know you. How many here have already established concepts or startups? By raise of hand, please. How how many have a startup idea and they're still working around it? Okay, how many here are just here because they don't know why, but they're interested? Okay, what we're trying to do, we want to make this happen with you guys. We have a vast experience, and the industry, or this whole world of startups is huge. To wrap up what a startup is, so first of all, it's an idea, sometimes driven by an event, sometimes driven by a personal experience, something we couldn't find, something that we didn't like, something that we wanted to make better, or something we just stumbled upon or dreamt about. Once you have this topic, once you have this idea, what you need to do, first of all, put everything on paper and research it well. Try to identify, understand the why, and the how, and the where. And take a step alone. Take many steps alone. Okay? The idea, if you try to look for a partner or an investor early on, he's going to have a big chunk of your idea, and he's going to lead the way, and it will never be your idea the way you want it. They will start with it and take it somewhere else. Whereas if you prepare well, if you do your research, if you start building parts of it with any income or budget you have, even if it's not done in the best way possible. But today, selling an idea is something, selling a plan is something, presenting it, trying to simulate it, doing a demo, doing a market study, okay, will take your idea to the next level. So just pitching an idea will get you 5% of the concept. Working on a presentation might get you 20, 30, 50%. Once you start putting it into place and you start making it real, even with a small demo, go-to-market concept, sometimes even you can get different kind of investors. There is an investor that invests in your idea, that helps you out, like an angel investor. These people help you get to the next level. So they gain with the investor, the real investor's intervention, not once your idea starts making money. So all of this is very important. What I want you to know is that once you have a thin idea, just the head of a thread, pursue it, research it. Today, you live in an age, I go by a motto that's called, that builds everything I work around. In the age of technology, ignorance is a choice. With what you have today, with the online networking possibilities, you can access any information, any data, do your research. And a while back, I was working on a huge app in Jordan, a multi-million app. I was a consultant for them. I was researching, and I saw a lady that works in this industry, in app development, and she was talking about something called the Starbucks concept. And she also mentioned that IP is dead. IP is intellectual property. So when you have an idea, you need to register, protect yourself, pay money, pay lawyers, protect, and make sure nobody steals the idea. And she said IP is dead. Why? Because today, a contract is vulnerable. People can attack you from more than one sense. Even a partner can go set up a different company. But how can you protect yourself? It's by being your own competitor. When I tell people, when they're launching an app or they're doing a concept, I tell them, launch version 3.0. Don't launch version 1.0. Always think how you can beat yourself. So personally, I am my own competitor. I try to beat myself every day. I challenge myself every day, and I try to be a better version of myself every day. So when you're doing a concert, think of how somebody can make it better and do it better. And when you think it's ready, rethink it. And when you have this gap between you and your competition, then you will protect your idea. Today, an idea is protected by the proper implementation, by the proper localization, by the proper user experience, user interface. This is what you have to do. A contract will not protect you unless you have the big giants. And then if you have the big giants, that means you have a multi-billion-dollar idea, which means you will have the big giants on the other side, and then again you will get into the same thing. I think it's enough for now. We don't want to burn all the topics in the first session, but I'm giving you pointers for those who are starting up. If you have an idea and you believe in it, don't be afraid to take the step. You might be working, you might have a part-time, full-time job, you might like the security of what you have, but give your idea the benefit of the doubt. It will not happen if it's done halfway. Sometimes you have to take the risks, and I don't see a lot of white hair in the room today. So you guys have something I have less of, which is years, which is youth. So if not now, then when? We will start with a Q&A session. Who would like to start?
What's a Q&A session? Question and answers.
Q&A.
That's a question.
That's a question. That was a Q&A.
Okay, so basically, to make it easy and inspire you, you're all working on your own ideas. If there is anything related to what we said today, so today we started with Imad talking about positive energy, about the right attitude, about the right mindset. Dr. Kevin talked about how you can prepare, research, believe in what you do, surround yourself with the right partners. And Hussein talked about something that I'm not really good at. I try to compensate with more income. But this is very important. Being financially sane is very important. You need to tackle any investment, any project from the right angle. Today, I wrote down a few notes that I wanted to share with you, since you don't have a lot of questions. And this is related to the crisis situation, okay? So one of the things you should tackle now, if you want to be in the right mindset, is a crisis-driven innovation. So innovate, but innovate based on what you see around you. The world has changed after COVID. COVID has hit the world in more than one angle. It hit the world from a environment issue, from health issue, from a vulnerability issue. People have reshuffled their priorities. They went back to essentials. They are more health conscious. They are more aware, and this is very important. People started reading more. Today, people are more informed. Some took the time to be sad and be filled with sorrow, where others tried to learn new skills, take new trainings, new certificates. And this is what I was preaching all the time during COVID. I was telling them, you have been given a time out. Use it. You will never have this chance again. You were forced to stay at home. Look at it as a holiday that's forced. Use this time. You can reinvent yourself. And it's never too late to reinvent yourself. I'm 49. 3 years ago, having a family with 3 boys and being on top of a lot of responsibilities, I decided to reinvent myself from scratch. I ventured into something that was a huge challenge. I decided to be the agency that I could never find. And I decided to go head to head with the big giants of the industry. But to tell you a bit about Blu Edge, the name comes from Blue Ocean, Red Ocean strategy. And I advise everybody to read the book Blue Ocean Strategy. Red Ocean is red because there is a lot of blood. It's where everybody's swimming, is where you have all the sharks, is where everybody's doing the same exact thing as we see in Lebanon all the time. One shawarma place opens up, in the next coming 3 months we have 500 shawarma places that opens up. So it's good and bad. But the Red Ocean strategy is very hard because the penetration is difficult. You end up competing with price. You end up competing with people who are doing the exact same thing. Whereas Blue Ocean, imagine nice blue ocean, clean like in Cyprus, not in Lebanon. And you create your own market. You make the competition irrelevant. You create a value-driven proposition. You give more and you give it differently. So if somebody opens up a shawarma place, open up a waffle falafel concept, which is one of my concepts I'm working on. So I don't mind, and this is exactly why I told you, because I'm not afraid personally to tell everybody my ideas and to give everybody the insights. Because what you will never be able to do, you will never be able to research it like I do. You will never be able to make it happen like I do. You will never give it enough attention and details and make it happen the way I do. So don't be afraid to share your ideas. Instead, make it better. Work on the concept and think of the user, think of the market, think of the competition. And this is what you care about. If you're afraid to give out your idea, that means you have nothing. You have nothing to sell. If it's only an idea, if you go online today, everything you can imagine has already been done. But everything you can imagine has not been done better or best. If you look at the example of, if you've heard of Uber and Kareem, who knows how much Uber bought Kareem for?
$1 billion?
18 what? لا نروح شوي.
$1 billion?
1.3.
Yeah, around $1 billion.
3.2, 3.3. And they turned down an offer of 2.5 billion, which I would never do. But the idea is that Kareem did what Uber did, but more localized and better. And they ended up selling their users. Just to understand the valuation of apps, they sold the user for around $100. So imagine $3,200 million for an idea that's out there. So, Natasha, you can take my waffle idea and make it happen anytime. The lesson behind this is that there is always an opportunity for you to make something better, to make it more adapted. If you think of everything around us, from the phone to the shoes to our sunglasses, there are a million sunglasses out there. If it was only about the idea, you'd have only Ray-Ban, you'd have only Rolex, you'd have only McDonald's. So at the end of the day, if you have an idea and you see somebody doing it, the right way to look at it is that we need to do it better. We need to put more into it. We need to give more value. We need to give more services. And we need to make it more localized, personalized. Talking about startups, it's creating something. So anything that we talk about can fit the subject. But I'm just telling you that you want to do something, do it right. If it exists, it's okay. You can do it better. You can do it in an advanced way, in a different way. So I hope I gave you a bit of intuition to kick off the Q&A session. Again, if you don't have any questions, maybe it's good.
I have a question for you that I'm going to ask in a moment, but I want to add to what you just said. In the health against big sharks because the healthcare has its sharks and they're bloody, like you said. And yes, of course, read the book. But we're differentiating ourselves differently. When we sit on a table with big pharma, with big hospitals, they tell us we have this product and that product, and you've heard of them. Probably Fattal sells them. But we don't freaking care because we do it differently. We have the confidence and we realized how we can not compete, how we can offer our service in a way that it's in the blue ocean, that the big companies aren't doing it. So the hospitals have been saying yes to us because we didn't have to compete, because we offered something. We found a gap in the same product they offer sometimes, and without having to compete on the name and the branding and etc. And a lot of times you walk into hospitals and no one have heard of Jeans Arabia, which is great, okay? But because of that, we got their attention, and we were able not to compete in the red ocean, but to go to the blue ocean. Now my question to you is, I want to know more about yourself now, for real, and not your names only, but what you do, what's your startup. So just share what your startup is or idea is. Maybe we can support you, maybe you can collaborate, maybe you can inspire something inside you so you can leave your room with a lesson or a take-home action. So I'm going to start like this, if you don't mind, Ziad, to know more about that. Yes?
I just want to ask, could you tell us more about what Jeans Arabia does? Why it's a blue ocean?
Sure.
It's a blue ocean market.
Do you want to do it now or after we finish our round?
You can do it now, so then we can all.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. What's your name? George. Thank you, George, for the question. So, Jeans Arabia takes genomics, genetics, that everybody, like, there is big companies that do it. But what we do that separates us, that we get the patient or the customer how to take these knowledge, how to take this information, how to take this scientific data and transform it into action. So our clients and our patients don't have to read 400 pages of data, rather than they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 steps that they have to do and follow up with us in order to preserve their health, their well-being, and live a healthier life.
So we start our round. So let's go like this. Natasha, startup.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, just one thing, so we can wrap. This is important. First of all, I want to thank Fattal, which is our partner, and that generously provided the location and the logistical support for us to be able to attend this first and important relaunch of Beirut Startup Grind. Also, we need to thank Alka. Alka is the American Lebanese Commerce Alliance. It's a entity that's based in the US, which I represent also in the region. The main concern of Alka is to promote Lebanese talent and businesses in the US. So they're supporting Lebanon in times of crisis, and they're sponsoring us. Another partner is Blu Edge, which I'm part of. We provide all the marketing, logistical, and manpower, let's call it, although they're all women. I would like to thank the team, Gael, Rana, Natasha. We're all on a mission to make this happen. And again, I stress, you are our partners. You know, we want you to be regulars, make this infectious, contagious, spread the word, and let's make it happen in a much better way. Something we're working with Fattal soon. We might be working on a kind of competition where you can present your ideas, and they might select a couple of ideas where they will invest early on. So we're working on a lot of things. soon.